Trauma, the response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that affects one's mental or physical being. Trauma can come in so many different forms. It can make you feel frozen in past events of being broken, shut down, or forced into vulnerability. Our struggle is a consequence of a horror that was inflicted onto us. No trauma is too small to matter or too large to overcome. Trauma can come in 3 different types: acute, chronic, and complex. These are our stories to healing. Acute trauma is the result of a single distressing event. This event can threaten one's mental or physical security. This event can create a lasting impression on one's mind.
Hi, I'm Shayla Rogers, but you can call me Shay. So, I helped a lot of my friends with suicide. I wanted to help every single one of them, and I succeeded, but it kind of brought me down in the process and made me turn more into this people pleaser kind of person that was like, I need to help every single person, and if I don't, then I start feeling bad about myself. And glad they're all okay and they're all healthy, and I like to think that I was a part of that. Particular one, me and her, we just got really, really close, 8th grade, I would say, or maybe freshman year or something, and we would hang out, we would go to the horse stables together, we would work out together, all this stuff, and then she started confiding in me and telling me about what's going on with her, and I told her I'd always be there, and she said she would always be there as well. And so we were inseparable for such a long time, and then she started telling me about her eating disorder and her attempts at suicide. And I was at my house instead, and I didn't know what she was going through because I didn't see her for like a day or two. And I tried calling her and she didn't answer and stuff, so I just felt like something was wrong. I ran to her house as fast as I can, and when I got there, like I just felt like something was off. I felt like something was completely just wrong, and it was. She was her bathroom door was locked, and she's not one to lock the bathroom door ever. Like I could just come in, which is being kind of weird, but yeah. And it was never locked, so I am at the bathroom door and I'm hearing running water. And I'm kind of hearing like bubbling noises and kind of like choking noises. And I took the nearest, like I took this little post thingy that she like puts by her door. It's like a doorstop, but it's really heavy, and I broke her door down with it because I knew something was up. She was laying in her bathtub with bricks on her chest, and she was trying to drown herself. And I took them off, and I pulled her out of the bathtub with all my strength, and I saved her.
Not all trauma is single occurring. Some trauma can reoccur daily. Chronic trauma happens when a person is exposed to multiple and prolonged traumatic events over an extended period of time. It can result from exposure to extreme situations, which can lead to a constant state of grief.
My name is Teresa Ann Wright Baker. I was named after a 1955 movie star, and her name was Teresa Ann Wright, which was my maiden name. I had a miscarriage about a year before I had Will, or got pregnant with him. I was already like 2 months pregnant. I never threw up. I was happy. Everything went great. I have to say that I was a really good mom to my kids. I did a lot for them. And in Will's case, my deceased son, I did too much for him. I basically crippled him so that he didn't know what it was like to succeed on his own or to do something on his own, because I was always protecting him.
When a loved one has a substance abuse disorder, it is really natural for families to want to fix the problem in any way they may know how. Sometimes it is difficult to know the difference between helping and enabling.
I think when Will died, that probably was a few months there. I just wanted to be with him. But I knew that was stupid. I've always told my kids and my friends, suicide is a long-term resolution to a short-term problem. So, you know, don't ever hurt yourself.
Hi, my name is Oscar Herrera. I am a first generation Latino graduate. Oh, well, my childhood consisted of, it started off, having two parents around. My dad migrated to the U.S., my mom stayed in Mexico, so I stayed with my mom for part of it. And then we migrated to the U.S., lived I wouldn't complain about the life I lived as a young kid. It was until, things started to change slowly. So we started moving a lot, living in different states, different cities. And that could, that ranged from like a couple of weeks to a couple of months, and then maybe staying there for 1 year or 2 years. So it was always on the move. I always felt kind of sad because I never was able to have like a steady childhood friend. That was like something I really wanted to have. I remember just being home alone a lot, with my siblings, and always like, just being around my brother, watching cartoons, going out to play in the park. But I don't really recall too much of like seeing my family. It got way tougher, after my parents split. I meant moving to a new city, just living with, my mom and my siblings. Constant fights between my mom and dad about, us, basically, where we're gonna live, finding somewhere to live, living in a car for a bit. So it was a hard moment, and like during that time, you didn't want to do anything, and you just wanted to get away from those issues, I believe I was 13 or 14 when he was deported. Feelings I was going through was mixed emotions, because I was like, I never really got to be around him so much, so it was like the emptiness is already there.
Because childhood abuse and trauma can change brain structure, the maltreatment can affect the way children behave and function. The pain will also last long after the bruises and wounds have been healed.
It took a toll a little bit, but there wasn't much I could do in my hands to change it. And until this day, I still don't understand how I feel about that moment, or if my life really did change that much since he left.
Sometimes trauma extends beyond a single moment. Complex trauma is a result of exposure to multiple traumatic events over the years. Even though these moments leave an imprint on the mind and the body, you become a survivor.
My name is Ashley, and I'm a proud mother and also a survivor. Growing up, I kind of lived in a mystery that I had to solve on my own. I was taken from my mom when I was just 2 years old, and I was raised with a family I didn't know I had. And being that young, you don't really realize what's going on. For the most part, I was very happy, and they taught me a lot of morals and love. As far as I knew, it came to a point where I realized something really bad was happening to me, and I didn't know how to explain it or how to come to my family about it, because I come from a very cultural family and very old-fashioned, and my family was very abusive. I was sexually assaulted by my stepbrother. I tried plenty of times to come out about it and try to tell, but being that young, you get intimidated easily. It continued to happen probably from 8 years old to about till I was maybe 13, until I had my first period. That's when it stopped, because I guess he realized that he can get caught. Dealing with all that was not easy. Being around a society that, it's not easy to talk about things like that. I went to counseling because I felt like that was my only outlet to speak to someone about it. And when I did go to a counselor and started speaking about it, she actually miraculously found my birth mom. And I was just sitting in school one day when the intercom, they said, Ashley Marie Kumar to the front office. I'm thinking the worst because I think I'm in trouble. I'm scared. And I go home, I'm going to go to the office, and there's this lady, Caucasian lady, telling me that she's my mother. Going through all that, I was really in disbelief until I saw her facial structures, and I looked at mine, and it made a lot of sense. And I didn't really know her, but at that point, when your home becomes your own hell, anywhere is a brighter light. I left with my mom, and once I was safely with my mom, I tried to confide in my father to tell him that I wasn't just a rebel. I was trying in many ways to tell you what happened. And when I finally did come out about it, he just, he was very angry, and he told me that my time was up because I'm grown now and it's been a long time, so he can't do nothing about it. So I had to make peace with myself and know that I don't want that to define me. I know that I didn't deserve that. And even though I couldn't get justice for myself, I made justice for myself by becoming a person that I wanted to be. But one thing I could say throughout all of it, trauma can't make you a bad person, only you can make you a bad person.
The truth is, sometimes you will get hurt in life. And it's okay to feel angry, frustrated, hurt, or lonely. All these may be negative emotions, but that does not mean that they are bad. All these feelings may happen when there are imbalances in your life, and each of these imbalances serves as an indicator of what part of yourself needs attention, love, and healing. Every emotion has a meaning. Every emotion has a purpose.
I think trauma is going through something drastic that changes your state of mind or can alter the way you live your life. I think healing means finding a way to surpass that trauma. So that could mean that could be different for every person, but it can come in many ways. It's like passions, it could be hobbies, it could be therapies. It looks different for everyone.
It helps me more as a person, I'd say. I don't regret the trauma. I understand people better. What's helped me heal, I'd say, is learning to let somebody do things for themselves. And that was hard to do. What has helped me is being able to say no so it never gets to that point again. I realize what I love. I realize that I love working out. I love art, all forms of art. I want to learn everything I can. And I don't feel like I have any ties to anything now. If I want to get up and go and do something, I can get up and go and do something.
The reason that I got over Will was I bought a camper right after he passed, a motorhome, and I went up to Lake Berryessa and got a job as a security person at this beautiful campground, and I worked 4 days, 28 hours a week, and I got to live there for free. So I had all the amenities, the swimming pools, the spas, everything at this beautiful campground. And I met all kinds of people, started having fun, and I realized it was okay to be happy. That it didn't change who I was. And instead of mourning him, I basically, I guess you could say, I celebrated him by talking about him and talking about some of the crazy stories. And that would be the best advice I could possibly give anybody, is try to remember the good times and talk about that person like they're still here. You know, tell stories about them. Enjoy the things that you did with them and other people. You know, let them meet a little bit of who he was.
I would say try to find the peace within you, because the world is chaotic. It will push you down. It will tell you all types of negative things to put you in that dark hole. But even if you're in a dark hole, even if you follow that glimmer of light, you will find your freedom. Don't focus on the negative, because oftentimes people will make you feel degraded, ashamed, put you down to where they want to quiet your voice. Don't allow them to quiet your voice. Even if it takes you some time, that's okay. Even if you feel like it's too late, speak up. It is never too late to heal. Even as an adult, even though I ran away when I was 15, I have lived a sheltered life like a caged bird, and I went from a caged bird that just someone left the door open and I flew. Now there's all these winds and hurdles and rains, and you just got to keep flying, mama, because even in the worst time and the worst possibility, you will find what's meant for you.
It can be really difficult, triggering, and emotionally draining to recognize and acknowledge your trauma. If you or someone you know is dealing with suicidal thoughts, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. There are many resources and groups who want to help. Remember that you deserve to be alive, that your life matters, and that this too shall pass. We wish you all a safe and happy healing.